Hey, friends, welcome back to the Talk to Me Nice podcast. It's your girl, Queenie Renee, your favorite voice note friend. And today I want to talk to y'all about something a lot of us do without even realizing it. And that's self sabotage. Because sometimes we pray for things, and we get it, and then we fumble it. Like relationships or a job, even our own peace of mind sometimes. The biggest block to our blessing is us. So let's talk about how self sabotage shows up in our everyday lives, why we fall into the same cycles, and most importantly, how to stop standing in our own way. So let me ask y'all this. Have you ever questioned whether you deserve good things? Have you ever found yourself shrinking when opportunities come your way? If so, then this episode is for you. So let's get into it. Now, before we get into it, let me just say that I'm not calling y'all out without calling myself out too. I have definitely fumbled some blessings because of fear or doubt or just being way too comfortable in my chaos. But today I'm going to break down what self sabotage actually feels like for me and why we fall into those patterns and how to stop blocking everything we've built, been asking God for, or the universe or whoever you believe in. So I'm gonna put a name to it because sometimes it doesn't always look as obvious. Sometimes we think we're protecting ourselves, but we're really standing in our own way. Self sabotage is procrastination, when we wait till the last minute to do something or not do something because, we feel like we're too scared that if we succeed, what that looks like. And it's overthinking ourselves out of opportunities. We do that. I do that a lot. I can voice like I will overthink myself into a stressful headache real fast. But I know that I'm qualified to do the things that I'm overthinking about. And that's what's the frustrating part. It's also choosing toxic dating patterns and running back to people we know aren't good for us. I've done that too. And it's unfortunate, but sometimes it gets to us. It happens to the best of us. Settling for less when you know you need more, when you deserve more and more is available. And sometimes it's perfectionism because we hold back thinking we want everything to be just right. So we don't take that first step and we talk ourselves into another stressful situation. The crazy part is most of the time we doing it. Like we know we do it. We literally say, yeah, I know I should, but I didn't. And that's what self sabotage is. Now let's get into the why because I feel like once you understand the root, it's going to be easier to shift the pattern. So the biggest one for me, I feel like, is fear of failure and a fear of success. Sometimes I don't go for things because I'm afraid I'll fail. Other times I hold back because I'm scared of what life will look like if I succeed. And both of those feelings are real. Other people sometimes deal with imposter syndrome, where they feel unworthy of good things, even when they've earned them. Like if you got a promotion and immediately you think they made a mistake. Like I think personally, I have a small form of imposter syndrome, but at the same time, I don't think that's my area of struggle. Others people deal with childhood traumas. Like if you grew up in chaos, sometimes peace gonna feel suspicious to you. So we run back to dysfunction because it's familiar. Our comfort zones trick us into um, thinking that we're in a safer place. But the truth is, being in a comfort zone can be the most dangerous place. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's straight up lack of boundaries. Saying yes when you should say no, talking on it too much, taking on too much, putting others before yourself until you burnt out. Like when we look at it that way, self sabotage isn't just laziness and bad habits, it's survival mode for real. It's our brains trying to protect. So, a question that I ask myself a lot is how do I stop blocking my blessings? So when I do ask myself this question, I journal and I write down my patterns, trying to recognize and pay attention to when I'm avoiding something good. Um, Taking that time to reflect and to call myself out, like on paper. I think that's my first step. That's a good first step to do. I try to remind myself that I'm worthy because I do have a lot of self doubt. I feel like we are our own worst critics sometimes. And sometimes it's as simple as saying, I deserve this. And you have to believe that you deserve it and push for it and not push it away. Don't replace the doubt with um another form of fear, but replace it with preparation. Like, don't wait until you're ready. Just do it. Just get out there. Kind of did that with this podcast, and I wanted everything to be perfect, and I wanted it to come out and sound a certain way, be a certain way, feel a certain way, and then it just wasn't happening fast enough. So I was like, fuck it, just do it, and here we are. I try to surround myself with people who hold me accountable too, people who won't let me shrink when it's time for me to step up. And I think the people around me in my social circle and in my family do a good job of that. So shout out to y'all. Y'all are my rock. I love you. Thank you. Moi. And then I'm choosing peace, like even when it feels uncomfortable. Like chaos does feel normal sometimes, but choosing peace is gonna feel weird at first. You just have to break the ice, break the cycle. I feel like it's not about being perfect. It's about catching yourself when you start slipping. Like, we gotta choose different, you know? Sometimes I feel like self sabotage shows up in relationships and friendships too. Because trust me, it's not just about career goals. Like pushing people away, sometimes when I get somebody genuine that loves me and supports me, I don't believe that I deserve it. So I start arguments or nitpick and pull back emotionally just so I don't get too close. But I'm working on it. God ain't done with me yet. I overthink everything, unfortunately. Like I've had a friend or a partner text in a different tone, as if you can read tone through text message. I feel like you can, but anyway, that's another topic for another day. I'm suddenly convinced though that you don't like me or you in a mood and I did something. Like instead of communicating, you shutting down. Um, it can also feel it could be like choosing the wrong people, entertaining folks who we know are not good for us. Healthy love feels unfamiliar to most of us, and we chase after the chaos, unfortunately, not asking for what I need. I do that a lot, and I'm working on that as well. It's one of my biggest struggles to say I want something because I'm fear like somebody's gonna feel like I'm too much or I'm gonna be rejected. And I don't want to feel that. I don't want to be resentful to it. So I think I self sabotage. Um, I test people for sure. I believe that our friends and partners, if they can pass certain tests, then I know they care. But sometimes that's not cool. Well, not sometimes. Point blank is not cool. We shouldn't test people based on past experiences. Everybody deserves their own fair chance. But the crazy part is, I think my self sabotage comes from fear of being abandoned and feeling like I'm not good enough. Because I fear losing somebody when I be asking myself, like, do I really even have them to lose? Or I'll keep myself at bay so that if they walk away, it doesn't feel like a loss. But for a true moment, I think that real love and real friendship can't grow if you're always standing in the way. You have to let people show up for you and be there. You have to trust that you're worthy of being loved and create and stop creating the unnecessary drama. Now, y'all know I gotta be real, so I'm gonna talk about what self sabotage does to our mental health. I think it puts our anxiety on 10, to be honest. You're consistently second guessing yourself or replaying decisions in your head. I wonder if I made the wrong decision a lot. And that self sabotage, I can't speak, is feeding my anxiety. I never feel satisfied in a decision if I have too many options, for sure. I think for some people, self sabotage shows up as low self esteem. When you keep blocking your blessings and you start believing you don't deserve them, you become a victim in a cycle of you don't believe in yourself. So you sabotage to prove yourself right by failing, and now your self esteem drops even more. It also feeds hopelessness and depression because sometimes I think sabotaging too many times make you feel stuck. You feel like nothing will ever last and it's heavy, and that causes depression to slide in, trying to convince yourself that you're the problem. Now, another big one for me is isolation and burnout. I do have a tendency to push people away, but then I start to feel lonely. I start to tell myself that nobody understands me, which makes me pull away even more. And then burnout, I overcommit. Like I procrastinate and I stay in toxic cycles that wear me down mentally. My brain be exhausted from fighting battles that I created for myself. So I think the hardest part in self-sabotage, it makes you feel like you're in control, but mentally it's draining you. You know, instead of protecting yourself, you're actually adding more stress and more doubt and the heaviness on your plate. When your mental health feels off, sometimes it's just not life happening to you, it's you blocking yourself, and you carry guilt with that on your back. It's unfortunate. Like, I'm really putting y'all in my business. So, we might as well just talk about it. What does it look like in romantic relationships? We push good people away. I'm guilty of it. When somebody is consistent and patient or genuinely kind, I feel suspicious because I'm not used to that. Instead of leaning in, I self sabotage, I pull back, I pick fights, I convince myself that it's a setup. I was actually talking to somebody about that today. I don't really fear being vulnerable, but there is a fear of vulnerability for some people. They just get afraid of being hurt and never let down their walls. I mean, we say we want love, but then we build up barriers around our hearts, and it's self sabotage, y'all. Ain't no other way to say it. Now, something else I've done in the past is cling to the wrong partner. Like I stayed in an unhealthy situation or a one-sided situation way longer than I should have, and deep down knowing that it wasn't going to get better and that I deserved better. But the self-sabotage came in because I was choosing the wrong person, and that confirmed my fears of me deserving something better and what that actually looks like if it, comes to fruition. I overthink love away. I do. I overanalyze every text, every tone of the text because, again, like I said, I feel like I can read the tone. I analyze every gesture, and then by the time it's all said and done, that person is sick of me, and I can't blame them. But the kicker is most of this comes from my fear of abandonment and not feeling worthy of love, and that's something honest for y'all. So yeah. I think that when you don't believe you deserve healthy, lasting love, you create chaos. But healthy love isn't supposed to feel like war. I do know that. If you always feel like you have to fight for it or question it or test it, it's not protecting yourself. You're sabotaging the very thing you said you wanted. Okay, y'all. So I called it out. I talked about what self sabotage looks like for me, what it may look like for you, why we do it, how it messes with our relationships and our mental health. But the real question is, how do we stop? And not just for a week, but like on a consistent long term basis. So, what I've learned, I feel like you catch yourself in the act. And what I mean by that is like self sabotage happens in patterns, like in our procrastination or pushing people away and overthinking. The first step is noticing it in real time. Like the quicker you catch it, the quicker you can shift it, right? I've learned to replace the behavior, but don't stop for it. What I mean by that is if you tend to procrastinate and you don't just say like I'll do better, you replace that with a 10-minute rule. Um, and the rule could be a task. Like if you tend to push people away, replace that with the urge to communicate. Say what you're feeling instead of shutting down. Set some micro goals. I've learned that a lot of sabotage comes from feeling overwhelmed. Break things down into smaller steps. I need this change in my life, and this is how I can go about making it. And then finish that one small task every day. Small wins. The small wins build consistency. We're right. We rewire yourself daily talk. Self-sabotage is a thief. It steals. It takes away your confidence and you feel like you're not good enough and you don't deserve it when you do. So you gotta rewrite the story every single day with affirmations and your gratitude. Like wake up, speak life into yourself when you wake up, when you're in the mirror doing your makeup, washing your face, whatever, combing your hair, brushing your hair, speak life into yourself. And I've learned also to stay accountable, whether you journaling or you're in therapy or talk it out with your friends. You need friends that hold you accountable so that you can keep yourself accountable and don't let you slip back. Celebrate your progress. Over above all, I think the biggest helpful tip I can give y'all is to celebrate your progress. Don't be perfect. Like breaking the cycle doesn't mean you'll never do it again. It just means you're recover quicker. Um, with more awareness instead of spiraling, you celebrate the small wins. A win is a win. Okay? We're gonna celebrate it. A win is a win. But consistency comes with practice, y'all. It's like going to the gym. You don't just lift one time and expect muscles forever. You have to build that discipline over and over until it becomes a new normal for you. And the same thing goes for your mental health and relationships, the way you handle your blessings. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep choosing not to block yourself every single day. So before I close out this episode, I want to circle back on everything we talked about. The how self-sabotage shows up in so many sneaky ways, like procrastination and pushing people away, or when we choose the wrong partners and we just plain old doubt in ourselves. I broke down the whys, the fear of failure, the fear of success, not feeling worthy, or being too comfortable in your dysfunction. We saw how it affects us, not just in our personal lives, but our friendships and our romantic relationships, and also with our mental health. The biggest thing I want you to take away from this is that self sabotage is not who you are; it's a habit, and a habit can be unlearned. Okay. When you look back, you got to remember that it wasn't that you couldn't handle it, it was that you didn't believe you could. And that's the dangerous part of self sabotage. It convinces you that you're protecting yourself and you really just keeping yourself stuck. Remember that. So once we realize and start paying attention to our patterns, the awareness will humble you real quick. You start noticing how many times you block yourself in a single day. I want to leave y'all with a little challenge for this week. Pay attention to your patterns. When you catch yourself overthinking or procrastinating or doubting whether you deserve something good, I want you to stop and ask yourself, is this me protecting myself or is this me sabotaging myself? Write it down, call it out, and if you can, replace it with new behavior. Don't just stop doing the thing. Fill the space with something better, okay, y'all? We're gonna end real quick with a affirmation, and we'll say, I am worthy of good things. I do not have to block my blessings. I will accept peace, love, and opportunity without fear. I deserve to show up as my best self, consistently and unapologetic, unapologetically, y'all, unapologetically. Say that out loud, even if it feels weird. Say it until you believe it, because your words is gonna create the reality. Okay. Remember that awareness is your secret weapon against your self sabotage. You can't fix what you don't notice. The moment you start recognizing your pattern, you catch yourself overthinking or pushing people away, procrastinating, you open the door to change. Think about it. You know, like awareness doesn't mean you won't make the mistake, but it does mean you have a choice to respond differently. You can pause and reflect and choose your next action instead of letting old habits control you. And the best part, I feel like, is once you get it consistently and you catch yourself, self sabotage loses its power. The cycle starts to break, not because life suddenly gets easier, but because you get stronger, wiser, and more deliberate about how you show up for yourself. Keep your blessings around you. Before I officially wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Remember, blessings aren't accidents. And if it's in your life, the opportunity presents itself, it's because it was meant for you to have it. Stop second guessing, stop procrastinating, stop running back to what's comfortable just because it's familiar. You deserve good things, and you don't have to block your blessings to get those good things. Another affirmation I have for you, say it with me. I deserve good things. I will not self sabotage. I will make room for love, peace, and opportunities to flow into my life freely. Thank you so much for tuning in today to this episode of Talk to Me Nice. Don't forget to follow, share, and drop a comment on IG. Let me know what you learned and if you caught yourself self sabotaging. Until next time, let's talk nice, but always keep it real. Bye, friends.